Dear student, today we are going to discuss about web application architecture. Web application architecture. A web application is an application program that is stored on a remote server and delivered over the internet through a browser interface. Web services or web apps by definition, and many, although not all websites contain web apps. So that web application is just like an any software you install on your computer like MS Word, but the difference is you don't need to install it. Okay, so it runs on the internet through a browser like a Chrome or Firefox, if anything. Okay, so if I can open Gmail in Chrome, so and not download it. Okay, is it a web application? Yes. Okay. So, I will give another example, that real life example, Gmail for sending emails, then Google Docs like MS Word, but works in online, Amazon or Flipkart shopping carts, Canva, so is an online photo editing. Okay, so why it is very important and why it is useful. So web apps save us from the downloading heavy software. So imagine. You just imagine you had a install 2 GB shopping software just to order a t-shirt from Amazon. Okay, so instead you just open your browser and shop instantly. So example of web application, a web application includes online forms, shopping carts, word processor, spreadsheet, video and photo editing, file conversion, file scanning and email programs such as Gmail, Yahoo and all. Okay. So how to use the analogy method of it? So you just imagine, think of a restaurant. Okay, suppose if you are going to the restaurant, you are the student, so you assume that you are the user. Okay, and you order a food. Okay, so the waiter takes your orders, brings food. Okay, so here the waiter is the browser. Okay, and another thing is kitchen is there, right? So kitchen where cooking or processing will happen in the areas. Okay, so that is the kitchen. So it is called as server here. Okay, and most important thing is a recipe book is there, right ma? So plus ingredients, all the details are they given. Okay, so where information is stored, it is called as what? Database. Okay, you just assume that is a restaurant. So suppose if you are going to the restaurant, means you are the user. Okay, and the waiters takes your order and brings food to you. So waiter is a browser. Okay, and where the cooking and processing will happen in kitchen only. Okay, so their kitchen is a server area. Then recipe book plus ingredients, so where information is stored. Okay, so it is called as database. Okay, if Amazon is a restaurant, why do you think the products are stored? Of course in database. Okay, here who acts like the waiter between you and Amazon system is a browser. Then web application, which means the software you use through the internet in a browser, and it runs on a client, which means a browser, and server is a remote system. Okay, then benefits of this web application. So web application have many different uses, and with those users comes many potential benefits. Some common benefits of web application include allowing multiple users access to the same version of an application. Web application don't need to be installed. Web application can be accessed through various platforms such as a desktop, laptop or mobile. Can be accessed through multiple browsers. Okay, the best benefits of this using web applications means everyone uses the same version. Example is what? Google Docs allows the group editing also, right ma? And no installation. Yeah, of course, just open in browser. Example is what? A Gmail. okay, then accessible as anywhere, works on desktop, laptop or mobile, any devices we can access it, okay, and cross browser support, so can open in Chrome, Firefox, Edge, etc. Okay. How does the web request work? To understand the components of web application architecture, we need to understand how they are used in performing the most basic action, receiving and responding to a web request. Okay. Okay. So we need a user, then browser, internet, server, then database, then again back to the user. Okay. So here we could start with a relatable example. So imagine you just open the Amazon and search for shoes. Okay. So here request, you just type an amazon.in or shoes in the browser. So the browser send a request through the internet. Okay. So here who is the sending the request? Who is the sending the request? Browser or the client sending the request. Okay. So the here the server reaches the Amazon server. So like the kitchen in the restaurant analog is there, no. So the server decides what to do with the request. Okay. And the next step is database. So here the server checks the database. Here the server checks the database like the storeroom to find all shoes product, okay, if it is available or not. Okay. So again send the response. So the server sends back the data to the browser. Okay. So the browser will display to the user. So the browser shows a nice web page with the pictures, price and reviewers. Okay. So just like you place an order at a restaurant or a kitchen prepares to the waiter brings the food, then you enjoy it. Okay. Same way your browser requires the server process, data comes back, you see it. Okay. So these are the how does the web request will work. Okay. And see this web request and responsible cycle. So front end and back end. So client and web browser are the front end and remaining things are back end. Okay. So first you visit an amazon.in. Okay. So second the web server process the request, right. So here the web server where amazon.com is located catches the request and sends it to the storage area. Okay. So storage area to locate the page and all data, so that follows with it. So but its route is held via the business logic. Okay. Also it is called as what? Domain logic and application logic. In this business logic also called domain logic and application logic. So in this business logic only manages how each piece of data is accessed and determines this workflow specifically for each application. Okay. As in this business logic process, the request it sends is to the storage to locate the looked for data. Okay. And the last one, third you have to receive your data. So your response travels back to you and you see the content of the web page on your display. So the graphical interface you see when scrolling Amazon's or any other website is called the front end of an application. Okay. So these are the web request response cycle is a fundamental process, so that occurs the every time a user interact with the web application. It involves the following steps. Okay. So client send a request, then DNS lookup, then establishing a connection, then sending the request, okay, server the processing, then sending the response, surrendering the content. Okay. So these are the basic things. And the next web application architecture components and three-tier architecture. So here most web applications are developed by separating its main functions into layers or tiers. Okay, so this allows you to easily replace and upgrade each layer independently. Okay. So this architectural pattern is called a multi or three-tier architecture. Okay. So here imagine you are at the restaurant. So the process of ordering and receiving your food involves a multiple step. Okay. So the first thing is as we are the customer, as client. Okay, so you place your order, then kitchen is our application server. Okay, so the kitchen prepares your food based on the order. Then finally where we have to store the database in database. So storage is as database. So the kitchen retrieves the ingredients from storage to prepare the dish. Okay. So this mirrors the three-tier architecture in web applications, where it is presentation layer, application, then data tier. Okay, presentation means what? Your client. Okay, application tier is your server, then data tier is a database. Okay, so presentation tier is the client, so the user interface where user the interactor. Then your application tier is the server, the logic layer that process the request. Okay, then data tier is a database, so that storage layer that holds all the data. So your browser or the client. Okay, so the server side, the presentation layer, business application layer, persistent storage layer. Okay, so these all the things are there. Okay, so the presentation layer is accessible to users via a browser and consists of user interface components and the UI process components. So it will support the interact with the system. Okay, so it will develop using three core technologies like maybe we can use HTML, CSS and JavaScript, of course. Okay, so while HTML is the code, so that determines what your website will contain, then CSS controls how it will look, right? Then JavaScript and its framework make your website interactive. So responsive to your user actions, developers use the JavaScript framework such as what? Angular and React to make the content on the web page is a dynamic content. Okay, these all the story you know well. Okay, so what is the presentation layer here? So you just think of a web application as a restaurant. Okay, so here the HTML is the menu. Okay, so listing all the dishes, if the content which content is available there. Okay, and the second thing is CSS is the interior design, so setting the ambience and style. Okay, and the last one is JavaScript is the wait stuff, so it will taking your orders and ensuring everything runs smoothly. Okay, so here the presentation layer is the part of the application that users interact with directly. So it builds using HTML, structure the content, then CSS style the content, JavaScript adds interactivity. Okay, so why is the presentation layer is very important? Okay, why its presentation layer is very important? So to have an user experience, then accessibility functions, then performance, high level of performance. Okay, so user experience means a well designed presentation layer ensures the user can navigate and interact with the application effortlessly. Okay, and accessibility also will be there. So proper use of HTML and CSS ensures that application are accessible to all users, so including those with disabilities. Okay, and the performance efficient JavaScript enhances the performance and responsiveness of the application. Okay, and the second layer is business or application layer. So, this layer also called business logic or domain logic or application logic, sorry, application layer. Okay. So, it is called as business logic or domain logic or application layer. So, it will accept user request from the browser, processes them and determines the routes through which the data will be accessed. Okay. So, the workflow by which the data and request travel through a backend or encoded in a business layer. For example, if your application is a hotel booking website, okay, your application is a hotel booking website, business logic will be responsible for the sequence of events. Okay. A traveler will go through when booking a room, although the business rules can be a manifestations of the business logic. Okay. So, they are not the same. Sometimes business rules are extracted and managed separately using a business rules management system. Okay. And the last layer is persistent storage layer. So, also it is called the storage or data access layer. Okay. The persistent layer is a centralized location. So, that receives all the data calls and provide access to the persistent storage of an application. Okay. So, the persistent layer is closely connected to the business layer. So, the logic knows which database to talk to and the data retrieving process is more optimized. Okay. So, here the data storage infrastructure includes a server and a database management system, software to communicate with the database itself. So, applications and user interface to obtain data and pass it. Okay. So, typically you can store your data either in own hardware servers or in the cloud, meaning so that you purchase data center management and maintenance services while accessing your storage virtually. Okay. So, here are cross cutting, actually these components handle other applications, so concerns such as what communications, operational management and the security. So, it affects all parts of the system, but should never mix with them. Okay. And these are the things are what third party integrations. Third party integrations, so here the payment gateways or social logins, okay, and GDS in travel websites are all integrations connected to the applications backend. We have pieces of code called as what? You know that APIs, right? So, they allow your software to source data from other software and widen your functionality without coding it from the scratch. Okay. So, these are the workflow of the web application architecture. So, client, the server side, presentation layer, business application layer or persistent storage layer, third party integrations and the cross cutting edge. Okay. Thank you.